Hello and welcome to the picturesque Snowy Mountains for the second edition of L'Etape Australia by the Tour de France. This is a unique opportunity in Australia to experience the Tour and for 3,500 people to ride on closed roads over tortuous climbs alongside the four-time winner of the Tour de France, Chris Froome. I'm Matthew Keenan, joined by Phil Liggett, the man who's been the voice of the Tour de France since 1973. And Phil, what a chance it is for many of those that sit up late at night watching the Tour to ride with the winner.
Absolutely. I mean, Froome, as they all call him, is very generous with his time. But you know, he comes here with the reputation he's got, and there's everybody in this event, that's about 3,500 cyclists, all want to beat him.
Phil, it'd be fair to say that 2017 was an enormous season for Chris Froome. The Tour, then the Vuelta, but the plans continue for next year.
They do. He has a major season ahead of him now, a very ambitious season, and this is what he had to say when he spoke to me earlier. Chris, a year on, you can't get away from the Tour de France, really, can you? Because here we are now, back in Australia, L'Etape Australia, but of course it's supported by the Tour de France. A yellow jersey up for grabs. Now you've got 59, and maybe we'll be looking at number 60. I don't know about that, but just going back 1 year, Chris, I mean, what did you expect when you came to this very first event?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a bit of an unknown for me when I came out here last year. I didn't really know what I'd signed up for. But it was a great experience, it really was. I mean, to come out here and to come up into the Snowy Mountains here, I mean, it is beautiful bike riding country around here. And there aren't many opportunities for me during the season to get on a bike and actually just ride around and have a bit of fun. I mean, a lot of our training is obviously quite serious and all aimed at being ready for an event like the Tour de France. So it really is a pleasure for me to come out here and to be able to do a ride like this where I can just ride around and have a bit of fun.
Well, you say just ride around, but of course, as a winner of the Tour de France, all these people riding in the same group as you want to see just how good you are, you know. They're not watching television now, you're right alongside them. Do you feel any pressure to have to impress them, or do you just say, hey guys, I'm not fit?
No. They can definitely have this one. There's no egos. There's no measuring competitions going on here. It's yeah.
Chris, I've never been to this area. I've been to Australia countless times, but I've never been to where we are in the Snowy Mountains in Australia. I don't know about you, but there was a moment when I thought I was in the French Alps.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there's not very many opportunities we get when we're racing the Tour de France to actually look around and take in the scenery. So, I mean, this is just an amazing experience for me to come over here into the Snowy Mountains and just to be able to enjoy the atmosphere, really.
Chris, the Tour de France, you won, but you looked to be in trouble a little bit on that stage against Fabio Aru.
Certainly, I think it showed this year in the Tour de France that I think if I'm honest on reflecting on the race now, I'd say that I wasn't quite at my best for this year's Tour de France, I think.
And yet you still won it.
I was extremely lucky to still win it, even though I lost the jersey, as you pointed out, to Fabio Aru halfway through the Tour and took it back 3 or 4 days later. So I mean, it was a very close race, but much closer than I'd feel comfortable with. I mean, the pressure on my shoulders was absolutely immense on that start line of the time trial, stage 20, the last test of the Tour de France, with only 20 seconds separating me in second place and third place only a little bit further behind that. So it really could have gone either way this year, and I think
the relief when you finished that time trial.
The relief was massive.
It was all over your face.
Absolutely, it was massive because I mean, one puncture and that could have cost me the race.
Chris Froome endures the toughest challenge of his Tour de France career.
And then I think it's fair to say the Vuelta is one of your favourite races, probably because it started your career as a Grand Tour rider, and nobody's done the double since the Vuelta moved to its late spot in the year.
I certainly felt better in the Vuelta. I think I wasn't quite at my best in the Tour de France, and I think by the time the Vuelta had come around, I had more race days in my legs. I was so motivated for this year's Vuelta a España. I'd come second 3 times in the race. I'd been trying for the last 6-7 years trying to win it, so it really just on a very personal level, I felt as if the Vuelta was something I needed to try and win, to try and get that monkey off my back.
Because you've been second three times?
3 times,
yeah.
3 times.
Oh, now you've won it.
And
so,
it's just an amazing feeling to have
well,
won
that's
it.
brought out a big quandary now, because of course you've announced you're going to ride the Giro d'Italia before the Tour de France. Hey, now if you'd have gone and waited and win the Tour, you joined the famous 5 club, winning it 5 times. You could be jeopardising that by trying to win the Giro. But also, of course, if you won, you would be among the greatest Grand Tour riders ever.
I think that's exactly it. I mean, yes, there is a certain amount of risk involved there, but I really feel as if this year is just an amazing opportunity in so many ways, and a very difficult opportunity for me to turn down, given that I've won the Tour de France, I've won the Vuelta this year, and if I did go on and win the Giro, that would, I mean, to hold all 3 titles within a 12-month period would just be, that would be magic. That would be so
But then the pressure's
special.
on, of course, because you're Mr. Tour de France. To win in July, just a few weeks after the Giro, I think it's about 6 weeks the gap.
It is.
Do you think you can get yourself back into shape?
I do. I think typically between the Giro and the Tour you have 5 weeks. Next year there's 6 because of the Football World Cup. I believe it's possible, and my coach Tim Kerrison believes it's possible. So we're certainly going to set out to try and accomplish that.
But hey, listen, if you win the Giro, you win the Tour de France, you're going to have to go and try and defend your title in the Vuelta, because no one has ever won the 3 Grand Tours in the same year, ever. And then you would be the superstar.
Listen, we'll see about that, Phil. I mean, yeah, that's a long way off. I think for now I'm just going to commit to Giro and Tour. But yeah, I mean, obviously the Vuelta's a race. I love racing as well, and it would be hard to say no to the Vuelta, but at the same time I am realistic, and I know how hard it is to do 2 Grand Tours, yet alone 3.
Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much.
So a terrifically ambitious season for Chris Froome coming up in 2018, but hey, let's talk about the end of 2017. The weather forecast for the Etape Australia is not a good one. In fact, it's a pretty bad one. So not surprisingly, Chris Froome has a few words of advice for those taking part.
I think the biggest thing is to stay safe in those kind of conditions. When it's windy and rainy, you don't want to be overlapping the wheel in front of you. That's the single biggest cause of crashes, is if you're overlapped and the guy in front wobbles a little bit in the wind or swerves out and takes the front wheel of the guy behind them. So don't overlap wheels ever. Keep a safe following distance. Obviously brakes don't work quite as well in wet conditions. And I think just a word of caution. I mean, this isn't the World Championships. We're all here just to enjoy it. So just get out there, enjoy it, and be safe. Be safe. Don't try and race around the corners and take unnecessary risks. Just take it easy and try and enjoy it.
Well, man makes plans, or race organiser does anyway, and Mother Nature laughs. The race has had to be shortened because of the weather forecast. It's of biblical proportions, with a forecast of 200 mils of rain at Perisher. But this is not unique to this event here, Phil. We've seen stages at the Tour de France as recently as last year to Mont Ventoux, shortened because of the weather.
Look, when you're in the mountains, the weather can change quickly and very quickly. And we are well aware that, you know, when you've got 3,500 cyclists, you've got to take care of them. So the organisers have taken the decision to alter the course
So the course has been shortened, and we saw this at the Tour de France in 1996. A stage went from 200 kilometres down to 40. This one hasn't been reduced quite as significantly as that. The race, which was to finish at the top of Perisher Valley, that has now been reduced to a little over 100 kilometres. Originally it was 156, and it will be finishing in Jindabyne. There's another detour on the course as well to avoid a part of the road that is prone to flooding. So the course itself now will be 105 kilometres. There's still the sprint, the race for the green jersey in Berrydale, and the King of the Mountains up for grabs at Bolocka, a tough climb, Phil.
A very tough climb indeed. They'll know they've been in a great bike ride. The scenery will be stunning, whatever the weather.
I'm here with my son, something I want to do with my teenage son. So if he's here, I'm here. I don't have a choice of backing out.
Yeah, pretty excited. I did it last year as well. It was a really fun event, so I didn't want to miss the chance to do it again. It's really fun riding with Chris Froome, and the whole sort of hype around it is just really fun.
15 years of age, Robbie, the youngest rider in the race, so you'll win that classification, but will you beat Dad?
Oh, I hope so. That's the plan.
He'll be leaving me behind, that's for sure.
Looking forward to have a great time with these guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Pity about the rain, but we'll have an awesome time. Come from Brisbane. So this is a slight bit different to the warm sunshine, but we're going to have a beautiful day, right guys?
Yes, absolutely. We were always going to do it, no matter what. Keen as mustard after last year, we loved it, eh? Absolutely loved it last year.
It's going to be great. Good ride, get out there with the mates, enjoy the challenge and the stories that you get afterwards.
We're really looking forward to today. We've been looking forward to it for a while, and you know, the weather's just part and parcel with cycling, so it is what it is. We'll just get out and have a hot shower at the end.
There's not too many women in the event, but you're flying the flag, you're right at the front, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I know a few people who pulled out when they heard the weather forecast, but it's not too bad.
And there's that old saying, if it's bad weather, well, you got half the field beaten already anyway.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think half the competition has stayed home, so I think I'm in a good spot right now.
Is this optimistic thinking or pessimistic thinking with the snorkels?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Well, just good planning.
Yeah, preparing for anything.
Did you do the event last year?
No, this is our first one.
So you're going to have a better story to tell. Who needs sunshine and clear blue skies?
It's overrated.
Back for year number 2. What are your expectations this time around?
It's going to be a wet day on the bike, but I'm excited. It's a great day out. I'm here again with my Penrith cycling teammates, so we're just looking to have a fun day and try to beat Chris Froome again.
The Spratt wave makes a start. Wave number 3 is off. Chris, have you ever posed for so many selfies and autographs before the start of an event?
Well, probably this time last year when I was out here at the same event. So. No, it's been amazing. Great atmosphere. I mean, despite the weather, I think everyone's still in good spirits and just keen to get on with this and have a good day out.
Normally when you're going for a bike ride, you don't wear the yellow jersey around, but is it nice to wear that yellow jersey, not at the Tour de France?
It feels a bit weird, to be honest. It's cool. I mean, it's amazing to see people's reactions to it.
And Amanda had a message for you. She said, good luck catching me.
I bet she did.
One of the great images that we see out of the Tour de France is the fact that all the towns get behind it and they celebrate the race coming through. the local towns here have gotten behind it just as much as they do at the Tour.
They most certainly have. You know, even the biggest games in the world, the Olympics, rely heavily on the many thousands of volunteers, and this race is no exception. Everybody pulls. They love this event in this area, and we're only in the second year, Matt.
And we've seen all the colours of the Tour de France. There's the famous polka dot jersey out towards the Balocca climb. Berrydale with the green jerseys. There's yellows everywhere.
Yeah.
The locals have really gotten behind this great event.
Last year I just put my hand up and it was coming in. I just thought it was a great opportunity for, you know, the area to showcase, and I was keen to volunteer, so I did. I ended up at the food station as team leader, and so I put my hand up again because it was just such a great fun day. For the food stations that are spread, you know, there's numerous throughout the race. We actually just have to set up all of the food in the morning and make sure that we can hand it out to the riders as they come through. So we've got different, you know, quick snacks, and we've got sort of more substantial things like bananas and so forth. They fill up their water bottles and have a break and come through. So Berrydale seems to be, well, it certainly was last year. It was probably the place where most stopped for lunch, so it was very busy. We had Chris Froome stop and actually do a meet and greet with all the kids in Berrydale, which was really good. I think it's great. Events such as the TAP really showcase the area as a whole. It's a crazy, big, fun and happy weekend, but what we gain from it is so much more in year round, and I think there's so much to do in summer, and it's really just helping to showcase and highlight that. And as far as Berrydale's concerned, we always come together for community events, and we've always got people. There's so many people that have actually, you know, joined forces and helped make, you know, the decorations, and we've had the kids from the USH and the school painting up the jerseys that you see on the power poles as you go down Myack Street. So yeah, everyone is just loving it.
It's very exciting for us. Look, we love an event in the Snowy Mountains, and to have people here like Chris and running this great event, I mean, you couldn't ask for more. We are so excited, and you can tell that by the communities all getting behind it, and their green bikes everywhere and things done up in yellow, and this is what we do in the Snowy Mountains. We get really excited about great events.
Absolutely incredible to see how the locals have got behind the race as well. I mean, there are just bikes all over the place, painted bikes, and all kinds of Tour de France sort of memorabilia and stuff all around the place. So it really does look as if we could be on a stage of the Tour de France here.
It's so good. The local community, it's just so good for everyone.
Such a great community support out there on the road as well. So many local residents out there cheering, and to be out there in this weather, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Community really good on the way around. They cheer you on all the way, so that's really good.
Fantastic. Like, thanks to everyone who organised this. It was definitely coming back next year.
One of Australia's leading cyclists is Amanda Spratt. She's a dual Australian road champion. This year she was 5th at the Giro d'Italia, but at this event last year she even managed to beat Chris Froome. What she got installed in 2017. It was a great year for you, particularly at the Giro, where you were 5th, but for the team it was even better than that.
Yeah, exactly. The Giro was something that we targeted as a team. It's the first time that we'd really gone into a Grand Tour. This is the Grand Tour for us. You don't get a tour bigger than the Giro for us. It's the first time that we targeted it with Annemiek as our GC leader. I went there with aspirations just to be the best domestique that I could be for her, and went in there, surprised myself. I had better form than I think anyone thought I would. I was climbing with the best riders there. But the thing that was the biggest highlight for me in the Giro, was just the way the whole team bounced back from that. Came back the next day, Annemiek won the time trial, went on to win another stage, and just the camaraderie and the way we grew as a team, I think that was more the highlight in that whole Giro experience. And I have no doubt that we'll be targeting it again next season, and I really think that we can come away with the win there.
So then you got to ride the course by the Tour de France again this year, and it was a different format. You went up the Col d'Izoard, and there was a big reaction to that. People were concerned that it wasn't long enough, didn't do the race justice, but it was a brilliant race, and you got to ride in front of the Tour de France crowds. What was that experience like?
Yeah, La Course for us was an amazing experience. I think the decision to change it from the Champs-Élysées and put us on a mountain course was fantastic. Yes, it was shorter than probably what we wanted, but I don't think it really changed the outcome of the race. We just got stuck right into it, and sometimes I think those shorter races do become more exciting, and we still had that 13-kilometre Col d'Izoard at the finish that really sorted things out, and I think you still saw the same outcome. And what an amazing experience to be racing on the same day as the men up that col. It was something that we don't get to experience very often. You know, we're getting more races now that are alongside the men, but certainly something like a mountain stage, we never get that, so that was huge for us. We don't get to race up those sort of mountains very often, and there was a whole lot of suffering, but man, it was worth it.
Amazing. We got the win with Annemiek, and fantastic.
Wet, but fun. And it's also probably how we like it. I mean, I'm British, so, you know, it reminds me of home.
Great. It was pretty controlled until that climb, and then yeah, everyone just rode the climb as hard as they could, and it split, and I got a gap up about halfway up the climb and just rode as hard as I could to the finish.
Gina, the first woman home. Brilliant, well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was pretty fun out there.
A lot has been made about breaking the 3-hour mark, and you were 2 hours, 59 minutes and 59 seconds.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it as I rolled across the line. It was quite close to the clock. We were.
This man is Amanda Spratt, you just beat Chris Froome by 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, and I believe that's 2-0 now, so we'll be coming back next year, maybe 3-0.
The finish is the same as the start. You're mobbed for photos at both ends. Did you get any peace in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great ride out there. Despite the weather, I think everyone just got on with it and just really enjoyed the day out. It's amazing. Pretty good atmosphere out there.
It was really good. It was my first time here. I've only been riding for a few years, and I thought, wow, what a really great way to try and test my fitness. And I think I've got a lot more way to go yet.
The day was fantastic in terms of you met the most unexpected people, the shared experiences. Yeah, there were definitely moments where you questioned yourself and your ability. Boloka was absolutely grueling.
Yeah, lots of good atmosphere, and locals came out in droves to support us, so it was awesome.
Last year Boloka beat me, so I had to come back and beat Boloka, and I did it. So got up the top, got my photo taken.
This girl's first time, and when we heard about the weather, we're like, oh, we really want to do it. So when we woke up this morning and it was not like this, we thought, yeah, we can do this. Go girls.
Congrats to everybody who stuck together, worked together, and it was great fun.
I think one of the best things was having everyone out there supporting was sensational. So many people out in force despite the wet weather was amazing. But no, it's pretty good. My brother and my dad are over there. Did it with them. With my brother who got us into it. Dad's 60 and he absolutely smashed us, keeping us on our toes. But yeah, fantastic.
Well, sure, Chris Froome didn't win, but he wasn't out here to do that. He was here to participate and encourage others to just do their best. And one of the highlights, Phil, was the fact that the locals from Jindabyne, they've gone from struggling to get people to ride 60 kilometres to having 60 people riding 100 kilometres.
And this has happened in just 1 year of the event, which is fantastic. The cycling club here has now increased substantially. And now they're winning the team. So they've had a wonderful ride. They should do, they know the roads and they've trained on them for a year, but it has improved the whole situation here in Jindabyne. And of course the winner, a triple for him too, for Jess.
Yeah, Jess managed to get the win in the men's race, and it was Gina Ricciardo that got the win in the women's race. And we'll be back again next year for L'Etape Australia by the Tour de France here in the Snowy Mountains. The weather didn't agree with the event this year, Phil, but it was a wonderful event nonetheless.
No, but what the weather did, it brought the people together. There was fears it would never happen in the middle of the night, but the start came in drizzle and they did get to the finish and they all congratulated each other. Sighted the police officers shaking hands with the riders when they crossed the line. That was pretty special.
And the challenging weather, that just makes for better stories to tell. So we'll see you next year.